You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Judge orders Trump to cough up cash to assault victim, based on an article by Sarah K. Burris. Trump's immunity theater hits a wall. The real power was the court. The source is about a judge ordering money disbursement after the Supreme Court declined to intervene. But the deeper fact is simpler. The power to force consequences sat with the judiciary, not with Trump's publicity machine. Judge Louis A. Kaplan did not ask whether Trump wanted the judgment to exist. He ordered it paid out with interest. That matters because Trump's whole political style depends on converting accountability into performance. He loses in court, then tries to turn the loss into another round of grievance politics. Here, the legal system did the one thing weak institutions often fail to do. It collected the bill. The decision was Trump's. This was not confusion, and it was not a misunderstanding. Trump chose to make the comments, chose to drag the case into the orbit of presidential power, and chose to gamble on immunity as a rescue hatch. His lawyers tried a last-ditch appeal to the Supreme Court, arguing that because he was president when he made the remarks, he should be shielded. The court refused to play along. That refusal is the important institutional act. It says the presidency is not supposed to be a license to defame someone and then hide behind the office when the checks arrive. What the reporting softens, the article spends a lot of time on procedural movement, but the substance is harsher than the tone admits. A jury found Trump liable for defaming Jean Carroll after also finding in the first case that he sexually abused her. That is the core fact. Everything else is a downstream fight over how much delay and immunity the system will tolerate before a judgment becomes real. Trump's own sworn testimony deepens the picture. In deposition, he waved off Carroll, called the case a con job, and then identified her as his then-wife before being corrected by his lawyer. That is not just bluster. It is the familiar authoritarian tactic of flooding the record with contempt and contradiction, hoping confusion will do the work of exoneration. Why the money matters. The article frames the order as money being handed over. That is technically true and politically incomplete. The larger meaning is that interest accumulates while powerful men stall. Delay is a privilege. It costs victims time, and it costs defendants money only when courts refuse to be cowed. Trump's legal strategy has always been part of the political project, not to win on the merits, but to exhaust the people harmed by him and to normalize the idea that elite men can treat judgments as negotiable. The court's refusal to hear the case cuts against that habit. It says the machinery of consequence can still function, even against a former president. The pattern is familiar. This is what institutional decay looks like when it is resisted instead of accepted. A powerful man makes a false, degrading claim about a woman who accused him of sexual assault. A jury rejects him. He reaches for presidential immunity as a political shield. The Supreme Court declines to bail him out. A judge orders payment. That sequence should not be read as a celebrity dispute with legal paperwork attached. It is a case study in how authoritarian politics tries to convert office into personal exemption, then recast accountability as persecution when the exemption fails. The meaning beyond Carroll. The system did not become just because it finally squeezed money out of Trump. It became marginally less corrupt because it forced a public figure to live inside the same legal world he spent years pretending did not apply to him. That is the real lesson. Power does not merely lie in making decisions. It lies in whether institutions are willing to enforce them against the well-protected. Trump's lawyers wanted immunity to function as a genre of forgetting. The courts, at least in this instance, refused. That refusal is not the end of the story. It is the minimum condition for a democracy that still pretends laws mean anything when they reach upward. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to AlterNet for today's article. With the automated voice of LJ, thanks for listening.